ladies and gentlemen. This is week 5 of my weekly anime roundup, where I go through everything I like, what I dislike, what I'm watching, what I'm not watching. Although, I'm probably just not gonna ignore the stuff I'm not watching, because it's much easier just to talk about what I am watching. Anyway, let's get right into it. So, the thing I really liked about this episode was the fact that Felix, while he's not necessarily a villain, clearly does not have good intentions, because, immediately upon meeting him, Tact is just like, I don't trust this guy, and, when they part, he's clearly very pissed, because I think he probably wants Cosette for something, which is why he wants them to travel with him. Also, the fact that he can just, I thought Music Arts always had to have a handler, but since he dismissed his music art, at least I think that he was dismissing her, it's possible that they can work on their own, or that, they can disconnect from the person they're working with. So we're just gonna keep traveling with this show and see where it goes. So I still don't know what this show is trying to do. I have no idea what its plot is. I have no idea where it's going. I do like the idea that the idol girl, whose name I really don't know, is trying to prove to her fans, look, I'm worthy of being an idol. I'm worthy of your attention. So please support me. I kind of like that, but it doesn't really fit this narrative. And frankly, it's the only thing that I actually, found even remotely interesting, because the rest of it it's just this, it's the same formula over and over and over again. Battle, villain shows up, villain fights hero, villains say, okay, now the battle's over, and then the villain retreats. And it's the same fucking formula over and over and over and over. And there's no, actual development, and there's nothing. It's sad, because I kind of want to like this series. I like the art, but I'm getting so bored by it, and I've gotten bored over the last 3 episodes, but I'm getting especially bored at this point, because we're halfway through, and I want them to do something. So, I have the same problem with this show as I did with the last show, although I find this show to be slightly better, only because I at least get a sense of where it's going. But it's the whole episode is basically just Kika sitting around and whining for her brother, and it's not scary, it's just kind of annoying. Like it's the same thing. Kika whines for her brother, either she or somebody else battles, and then that's it. That's the whole episode. Whining for her brother, wanting to battle him, and then somebody battles him. And then he always wins, because of course he does. I think after watching the next episode, the black-haired girl gets kidnapped at the end, but other than that, that's pretty much it. There's pretty much nothing else to it. So on top of all the shit that's going on top of the cat boy and the girl that's run away, who can possess people, and his childhood friend who wants to find out what's going on. We haven't seen her at all, actually, so I don't even know if that plot's even going anywhere. I want to see that plot, but I don't even know if that's going anywhere. And the tech kids, and the Genki girl who's running the gang, and the monster. Now we also get some braided girl who, I don't even know what her story is. I don't know if I completely blanked on who she is, or if I missed it, but Yamato has some conversation with her. And on top of that, we also get the hero organization people wanting to move what I'm assuming is the city. I don't know if Ixia is the city or the robots. They want to move something. They want to move Ixia, whatever it is. They want to move it, and I think it's the city, because everybody else is like, are you crazy? That's impossible. So I think it's the town. So she wants to move the town, and on top of that, oh my god, this is so exhausting. On top of that, we also at the end get the body possessing girl who now turns into some cosmic form, and the the assassin dude also turns into... It's so... Like, you need a bingo card to keep track of all of this shit. And I don't hate it, but I'm starting to get really exhausted with trying to keep track of all of this. And it's not terrible, but I don't know what's going on. And I don't know what I'm supposed to be watching now. So I really, really, really hope the show, like, picks something and sticks with it for a while. I hope the show is long. Because at least if it were long... Like, you'd get the chance to pick something, but pick something and stick with it, because this is getting to be way too much. So this week we find out why Gil doesn't want to sing with Angie, and I actually understand his reasoning, because basically I think in his mind, He's scared that Angie's going to end up like the last person, the last person died. Well, not necessarily in any fault of his own, but the last person, he sang with ended up dead and ended up dying, and he's really scared to connect with anybody else because he's afraid that the next person he connects with is going to die, and the next person, and that's actually really common for somebody who's been through trauma, to not want to connect with anybody else after the traumatic incident they went through, because they're afraid it's going to happen again. So I actually give the show kudos to that, because it's actually, I'm surprised, because normally the show has not done a lot with its plot, but that's actually something I liked it, actually. And I like the fact that, it basically takes up the whole episode, so you get to see from beginning to end what happened. So it gives it enough time, which I've seen the next episode, and the next episode is really, I don't even know. I can't even describe how just insane this show gets. So it's good to see that this episode took time to breathe and explain, because I'll get to the next episode, but there is no explanation for it. I'm gonna level with you. I don't remember a lot about this episode, mostly because I found Jellymon very, very obnoxious, and I found the Digimon that they were facing this week just wholly uninteresting. I know that he was trying to do something with the rail system, but I found it really boring, and I wish this series had an actual villain, because it needs something to tie it all together. I know that it's fine for now being an episodic series, but I kind of wish it had some kind of antagonist or some explanation of how these Digimon were getting into the real world, because I really think this show needs something. Like I said previously, it's nice that Luke is training himself, but I kind of wish the series would start to get to the point. Like, I have a feeling this is going to be one of those shows that either stops at episode 12 and you need to read the light novels in order to get to the point, or it's going to be one of those shows that's like 5 seasons long and it doesn't get to the actual plot until like novel 3. Either way, I'm a little bit wary of that, because it, like I said last week, we haven't even met the hero yet. So I'm getting bored, and it's sad because I like this show. I don't hate it, but I at least wish we could meet the hero so that we get a sense of, how bad he actually is. I will give the episode this. It is slightly more interesting than last one. And I found, I think a lot of this show is harkening back to older Digimon series, because they did this in GX, but the one in GX was a lot more interesting. Was just, I didn't even like GX that much, and I found that arc to be a lot more interesting. Again, wish they'd get to the point. I wish they'd get to the actual, what's going on with the president thing and whatever UO was planning to do. This all feels like stalling at this point. Either it's going to be something really big and really grandiose or really, really underwhelming. I think it's probably going to be underwhelming because they've spent so much time on random shit that nobody cares about, and it's padding at this point.